In the beginning, there were 8 writers with a deadline, and their ideas were without form and void. Through quarrels and laughter and many drinks, they said, "Let there be a book." And on the 5th day, Nameless was born.
So 1960, Nigeria was a parliamentary republic, yeah. We had a prime minister and the president. And so from the 60s to 66 it was parliamentary. Then in 1966, Nigeria had a civil war. Then the military guys ran the country for about 20 years or so. And then we had to move to Abuja. Abuja is more central, yeah. Because you have the West, the Igbos in the West, the Yorubas in the East, the North houses in the North, and then we have Abuja. It's right in the center. You had those tensions in the country, tribal tensions, religious tensions, you know, the North, the South, the Muslim, the Christian, the Igbo, the Yoruba, the Hausa, all that stuff just, you know, floating around the country, yeah?
Lately, there's been a lot of call for a split up of the country. So I think it would be something that some people might raise, that do we need to sit down and think Nigeria needs to be 3 different countries, no longer one, or do we have a common vision where we can go along together? So I think that's going to be a major theme in the book.
Booksprints is a method to write books collaboratively in 3 to 5 days. All of us, we will write it, we will revise it, rewrite it maybe, restructure it maybe. So that way we can really make sure that we, exchange a lot of our different perspectives and really get, the most experience and knowledge into the book as possible.
We don't want a textbookish kind of thing that people would just like, okay, and just dump it. So I'm wondering, how far we can go. Can we do fiction? What are the options?
I think that the aim would be more to add to the conversation, or to start a conversation. I don't see any change happening from one group.
Nigerians understand the elections have already happened.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So it's not about post-2015 or 2015. It's like, what do we want now? What is that future we should be living now? In Nigeria now, we're not living because we are all one step away from a bomb. I can't be stuck in traffic without getting paranoid because Boko Haram takes pleasure in striking places that are very populated.
The way Nigeria is today, it doesn't matter who becomes president. It really doesn't matter. Nigeria will still be the way it is until we deal with this structure.
And we can start collecting all the ideas that we have. Anything that comes to your mind, right? Don't censor yourselves.
We've just started, and what we've been able to accomplish in the first day, it's enormous. We've been able to gather as much data as we can about what our problems are and our different opinions of what should be the worst case scenario and, the best case scenario. And we've done that in all aspects of our daily lives.
Now that we have the last ones up, do you all want to get a good look at what everybody else wrote?
Okay, well, we migrated to Mars.
Yeah. We can start clustering up so anybody can do it.
Taxes go with what? Devolution of power, state structure.
Taxes go with civic responsibility and journalists here.
Interesting. That sexual rights has more than hunger.
It's important because sex is like the opium of the masses.
We have now very high level ideas.
Yeah.
And let's try to get sort of an outline of what needs to be in there.
We figured out what titles or what themes do we want to run across the book. And I think we came up with 14 of them. So things like corruption, structure of the state, religion, health.
Development, infrastructure, sexuality, gender.
Surveillance, technology, politics, justice.
Nameless is a city, a country within borders, a boundless space of ideas, a cosmos with realities stark and painful, quiet and loud.
I would like to welcome you to the public declaration of President Goodluck Jonathan for the presidential race ahead of the 2015 election.
So it's basically the PDP, the biggest party in Nigeria, probably in Africa, going against the APC. So the president, Goodluck Jonathan, is in the PDP, and the APC are, for the first time, we have a real opposition party in Nigeria. So it's going to be very exciting. From now till February, it's going to be really a soap opera of guys coming out to give promises. I'm trying to hold them to their promises, but it does make for interesting viewing in Nigeria.
The elections, to her mind, were a foregone conclusion. Only the devil could stop her now. Didn't the Bible say Satan was under her feet? She murmured, "Satan, don't fall for ground," as she struggled with the zipper at the back of her dress.
We've had the conversation, what kind, what genre, what style do we think will best carry our message across? And I think we're ready to settle down to start writing.
If we decide to go with fiction, we should create characters. Our characters will carry the messages.
You have a guy in Lagos worried about light bill. The lady in Sokoto is worried about just access to how can she get water. She spends 3 hours getting water in the morning. Two different, way different spectrums. So how do we bring those two stories in?
So I've done fiction before, and I've done collaboration. But fiction in collaboration is new.
When I write, I always have an idea in my head. I have the characters I want, and I have an idea of how the story is going to be. But with the book spring, we wrote out the characteristics, and then it's from the characteristics that we built the characters. So it's very new, and I like this method.
She's a lesbian female.
No, as in pregnant.
He's unemployed, so he's blogging. He's very outspoken about his views on force control.
So a militant is not unemployed. There is a job. That's a full-time job.
Okay, this is a market woman who is the third wife of somebody. She's also a traditional religious practitioner. She's submissive to her husband and she has 4 children.
If I had come up with the characters myself, I would have been really protective of them, oh, these characters are my babies. But since we all went through it and we picked the characters that we wanted, and we all had a say in creating these characters, so even if I'm writing the story, we also all have a say in the stories we're writing. So I don't feel any particular ownership over oh, this story is mine. Even though there are characters that I like more than others, I still had to feel that, we all share the ownership. It's not just one person that owns the book or the story.
Nameless is ambitious and in the third world, in darkness, with inadequate infrastructure, darkened by the lack of electricity.
We're right at the campaigning stage of the upcoming elections. That's the theme in the whole country, everything revolves. If there's no power cut at least once, you're not in Nigeria.
Sometimes throughout the day you won't see lights, and why sometimes they'll bring it for some hours and then they take it and then bring it back. They do rush on it. So most houses use a generator, to help them supply power.
The challenges in Nigeria have made us stronger, have made us smarter. Whatever progress that we've witnessed in the past 15 years. This is one of the reasons why it's that way, because everybody wants to know what the government is doing.
Answer the question. There are all these allegations of corruption.
When we talk of corruption, let us start from our families.
Corruption is
we, not the leaders.
It's not the government. The leaders, they are the ones causing corruption in this country, Nigeria. They said the youth are the leaders of tomorrow. We've went to school, no job. nothing. The leaders as are there, instead of them after some years or some years ahead, instead of them to leave there so that the other people, are you getting me? So that the other people will come, they will still be there. They want to die.
At present, what is happening is that wealth and power are the only things that are respected. I mean, poor people who steal tomatoes in the market or shoes can be beaten to death. But a man who is caught on camera stealing billions, we make jokes out of it, and he wins elections. It hurt him to his heart's core that he had to stoop that low, but corruption worked best in this land.
Now we are developing our stories. Yesterday we made up our characters, and today we are developing our stories, and it's getting really, really interesting.
This is day 3. Writing is going on so-so. I thought we were going to have a futuristic look as to what this country was going to be, and we're going to have this preachy, whispery voice. And I don't know, the process from the very beginning turned out to be really great, because I realized that would not have worked, and that's not what readers would be looking for. So my expectations have changed, which is great. It looks like we're going to have a fun book. I just don't know if the book would be ready on time, so.
And so where we are now, we're writing up stories which we have developed for characters who are channeling these themes.
And we have an idea where every single character is sort of connected to the market. Even if they don't talk to themselves, they may have met themselves in that marketplace.
And what we try to do is to just bring those stories to either crisscross or to run parallel to each other, or the central theme, the stories that, listen, this is what we have, and this is what we want to make, how we want to see a better Nigeria.
We're trying to do an arrangement. You know the way the stories, we've just been working on them individually.
Story comes out.
Now we're trying to see which story so that there's a fluid sequence.
I didn't know it was going to be this structured, this organized, you know. I was just imagining how 5 guys are going to write a book, 9 guys are going to write a book in 5 days. But now you see a process. You can see from day one, there's a process, do this, and you can see the end points coming along.
Nameless is oppressed, under surveillance. Nameless is free to dream of change, free to dare, to live, to express, to break open the boxes in which sexuality and gender and tribe exists.
I think for my Christmas dress, very colorful, yeah?
That's another thing that I find very troubling, the fact that women are still considered like second-class citizens, and we would like to deny it. We would like to say that we are powerful, we can do what we want, but in truth, even the women who carry on as though they can, truth is they do have the permission of the men in their lives. I really, really want to see a future where there's less of that, where the woman is an individual. She can make her decisions, she can make her choices, she can own her body, you know, and just she can be her own person and just live as an equal with the man. If your husband said maybe you should not do this business, how would you take it?
No, I believe what I'm doing is I'm doing it for the family.
I know.
There's never a time you will stop it from me.
But you understand that there are some women that their husbands will say, don't work, I'll take care of you.
No, if it is in terms of that, if he can be able to carry all of us along, I can stop now, relax in my home.
You will not mind?
What
you
is
don't
this?
feel the need to come out and, you know, make your own money? Your own money?
The money I came out and the money I go for exercise. No, as far as my husband said that I should relax for him. Yeah, I will go home and relax for him.
Let it be on the record that she says that if her husband says she should stay home and relax for him, she would relax for him. There
are a lot of things in our society we do, and the basis for it is, or for them, is the Bible or the Quran, because it's a very religious country. Many of the things we allow, it's in the name of God, like the gay law that has just been passed. A lot of people will tell you homosexuality is not in our culture, or they'll tell you my religion forbids homosexuality. And yet, in the midst of all this religiosity and godliness, there's just so much what I would again call a lack of morality and godlessness. People just simply do not care.
We're trying to provoke thought. We're trying to start conversations. So some of the issues in the book are maybe not controversial, but they will make you sit at the edge of your seat a little, because it's things that we normally or ordinarily wouldn't talk about.
If there's only one thing, if it is only Jamila expressing her sexuality, and that's the only thing this book has done, it's a huge, it's not small. How many Nigerian books do we have a married woman
Loving on her wife
and expressing herself anywhere? It's revolutionary.
Okay, a lot of things stood out to me, but I really like our baby girl, Goldie.
Yes.
Because, anytime people talk about characters like her in usually Nollywood, they're always fated to fail or die in the end or catch AIDS or whatever. And she goes to school, and we get to see her being humanized.
The biggest message for me is the fact that all of us have come together, and in 5 days we have brought out this book.
At the very least, it has taught people to understand the importance of collaboration and how to work and contribute ideas without holding on to them emotionally and refusing to let go. And so in a way, it mirrors the project itself and what we're talking about.
So, book title names. We have Nameless, and we have the future we want.
Nameless.
Do we have any other ideas?
No.
It's just called Nameless?
Nameless.
And the 8 writers rested.
Nigeria, go daddy, gamata, gamota, gakudi a cikin banki sai dai matsalar mugunin fetur. Nigeria, go daddy, gamata, gamota, gakudi a cikin banki sai dai matsalar mugunin fetur. Rigingimu sun ishe mu, Jonatiya, na ce Jonatiya, good luck, Ibele.